to Red Menace. We're a comedy news podcast bringing you the latest and greatest hits from inside, but also outside sometimes, but we're not sure if we'll stay like that. We'll see. My name's Chris Bolson.
And I'm Alison Hoare.
We were brainstorming a lot about what to talk about this week for our intro, because my weekend, I was playing The Last of Us 2, and that's too fucking depressing to talk about, and the world sucks. So what I'm going to talk about is my beautiful son, Tim, Tiny Tim, the cat.
It's a very good son. I've met him, and I'm very glad to have met him.
He's a wonderful son. He's 5 to 6-ish months old. Not sure exactly where he falls on that spectrum. In there somewhere. In human years, he's about 9 or 10, I think.
Beautiful.
And he fucking acts like it. He is a ball of energy, and he's figured out how to climb inside the couch. Love that. Turns out my couch is hollow. Didn't know couches were hollow.
Well, if you'd watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the episode where Frank enters the couch,
yes.
then you would know very well that there's enough room for a full-grown Danny DeVito in a couch.
I was always very confused by that episode. I was like, did they have to remove some of the inside of the couch to fit the Danny DeVito inside? But Tim can just get in there. What he did was he used the claws that God gave him, and he ripped the bottom off the couch. And then he climbed up.
I mean, as you do if you're a cat.
And one thing that when I've been playing The Last of Us these last couple of days, he's just kind of been inside the arm of the couch next to me, just kind of poking and prodding at me through it.
What a great game.
He has many, many toys.
I like that you have invested in a lot of toys for him.
I've invested in a lot of toys.
And yet most of the time, all he's doing is playing with the inside of the couch.
He's playing with the inside of the couch, but he's often will specifically request that I play with the laser pointer with him. So he knows where it is on the shelf, and he'll walk up to that spot, and he'll stand there and just like meow at me for like 5 straight minutes until I come and get the laser pointer, which he can detect just by the jangle that it makes. And he does love that so very much.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
When he gets to chase that bad boy around, he's like, these other toys are great, but my dad doesn't have to stand up for those. So this one is the choice one.
Absolutely.
Yesterday I gave him some barbecued chicken for dinner. He loved that.
I would like some barbecue chicken for dinner, Chris. If you're cooking for the cat, you can also cook for me.
I didn't cook the barbecue chicken. I bought it from Woolworths.
Oh, well, that's... Woolworths cooked it.
He's also responsible for my sleep schedule changing pretty dramatically. So I used to go to bed like 11 to 12, wake up like 6 to 7. Now I go to bed at about 9 and wake up at about 4:30 a.m. on the dot every single time, because a little living cannonball kind of just jumps onto me, somehow always lands on my balls without fail. It's really impressive.
When he's travelling at high velocity, he's just automatically aiming towards that segment of your body.
I'm starting to make a very consistent sort of sound every single time it happens. So I now wake up with an and Tim just loves it. He's also an idiot. He chases his own tail, but he likes to do it in the same room as me. So if I'm asleep, he'll get up on the bed and then start to do it and just move in like very, very quick circles, like a yo-yo or like a tennis ball on a string that you're just like swinging around as fast as you possibly can, but like it's a living cat. And I challenge anyone to sleep through that happening on you / next to you.
I don't think I could.
But yeah, that's Tim. I love him. He's great. He's very cute. I'm so tired. He's my beautiful son.
But he's your son, and that's what you've given birth to him, so you have to deal with the antics that he...
Look forward to in 3 years when he chills the fuck out. It's going to be so good. He's so cuddly, though. He likes to nibble on my nose.
I did like coming and meeting Tim.
You seem to really enjoy Tim. He was scared of you because you were too loud. He was
scared of me, but I liked his fish toy. That was another good part of Tim.
Oh, yeah, he loves his fish toy.
And just watching him run around and be chaotic was fun for the few hours that I was there. because I didn't have to deal with it when I'm trying to sleep.
Chaotic is a very good word to describe it. I think he is the embodiment of chaos.
Thank you.
Tim, the god of chaos.
That's the aim is to use the correct words, and I feel like I use the correct terminology there to refer to him.
Tim is the feline god of chaos. Do you have a story for me, please, Alison?
Shall we start with some, I don't know. Let's start with this one. This is a story that I believe was sent to me by... Oh, let me check. I want to get this right. It could have been Jossie and it could have been Anna. So I just need to confirm which of the two sent it to me so that I don't get roasted for crediting it to the wrong person. And this was Anna who sent this to me.
I was going to say it was Janna, but then I realised that Janna was the name of a character from Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Don't ask me why I remember that. That's the only thing I do remember about that movie. Everything else is lost to time except the name Janna.
I saw that movie on Christmas Day in Indonesia, and that's all I can remember is how much food I ate with my friend before that and how I was having, like, you know, food-related bloating in the cinema.
To be fair, I don't remember who Janna was. I don't know to what face to attach that name. I just know that there's a Janna in it.
Oh, sure, you remember the name. So I'm going to read this story from Channel 7 News, and the headline is probably the best part of the story, frankly.
Okay.
It says, man fined for farting with full intent in front of police.
Oh my God. All right. This is
with full intent, Chris. With full intent.
Very funny, but so fucking dystopian, dude. It's like he farted on. It's an assault by smell.
How do you decide if someone farted with full intent or if the farting was unintentional?
Is it first degree farting, third degree farting? There's so many different options.
I want to know, like, how the police decided that it was an intentional fart and not like an accidental breaking of wind.
If his friend is there, does he get fined for conspiracy to commit fart?
Well, exactly. He's like, hey, I'm going to fart in front of these cops, and then he does it, and his friend's part of the conspiracy then. Because he didn't say, maybe don't fart.
Inciting farting. There's just so many good options.
The person who served him the food, which made him have the gas to fart, does he then become part of this as well?
That's like fart trafficking.
Right. He's like,
fart supplying.
Exactly. You've supplied the goods to do that. Surely that is illegal to some extent. Do you think you could be sent to prison for fart possession, just for like having the capacity to fart? Having the wind inside you, ready to break wind in front of the police, and the police are like, I'm going to fine you because you've got that gas in you and you could use it against us, the cops.
I think we've just come up with a very exciting movie idea.
Don't know if it's an exciting movie idea.
It's a depressing movie.
Let me read the story. A man in Vienna has been fined 819 Australian dollars for breaking wind loudly in front of police. A move that Austrian capital's police force was at pains to defend on Tuesday. I mean, I wonder why it was difficult for them to defend that decision.
Well, because they were all keeled over from just how bad it smelled.
Right, exactly. But who smelt it, dealt it, Chris?
Well, I mean, yeah,
so
obviously...
So the cops smelt it in that situation?
The cops obviously dealt it.
Well, because they smelt it. So.
This is police corruption that we're seeing here, folks.
The police then had to prove who smelt it did not, in fact, dealt it.
So what you're insinuating right now is that the police essentially planted fart evidence on this man.
Well, they smelt it, Chris. They can't...
That is true.
If I was in that situation, I did the fart in front of the police, and they said to me, hey, that was an intentional fart. I'd be like, how do you know there's a fart? And like, can't you smell it? I'll be like, well, who smelt it dealt it, officer. And then they can't get back because that's a law. That's part of the legal system.
Though, if I was going to be in a getting arrested YouTube video, instead of shouting like I'm not resisting or whatever, I'd love to be shouting he who smelt it dealt it.
Right,
because that
exactly.
is like, that's a new one, you know?
Right.
That'd give the people a chuckle before we like burn the precinct down.
And then the lawyer for me, who's representing me, pro bono in this case, of course.
Just gets up on the stand and he's like, Your Honour.
Who smelt it dealt it.
And Your Honour goes, fuck, you're right. All right.
For my opening argument, I would like to say, reading from the internationally recognised law, he who smelt it dealt it. And the judge is like, well... The officer did say that. The officer did say that he smelt it, and that was his evidence. So, you've got a case.
See,
Absolutely.
but then the officer's going to get into like, I actually heard it, I didn't smell it. And then it's going to get like a lot of jury room deliberation. It's going to end up being
did he smell it or did he hear it?
Can we trust him? Hung jury, baby.
Right, exactly. I mean, he's changing his story. He said he smelt it, but now he's saying he heard it. Like, it's tough. It's a tough decision. I can't pronounce the name of this town, but it's spelt kind of like Osterreich, but I'm guessing it's probably like Österreich. Newspaper reported that the fine stemmed from an incident on June 5 and that the offender was fined for offending public decency. City police wrote on Twitter that, of course, no one is reported for accidentally letting one go. They added that the man had behaved provocatively and uncooperatively during an encounter with officers that preceded the incident. He got up from a park bench, looked at officers, and let a massive intestinal wind apparently... full intent. I'm going to read that again, sorry. He let go a massive intestinal wind apparently with full intent, they said.
What does that mean?
Intestinal wind is the cop lingo for fart, apparently.
He let forth a gastric expulsion, a gaseous escape, and he had murder in his eyes when he did it. So it was like, full in. How do you measure that full intent? So what I'm hearing is police walk past guy stands up, farts. Like that's, and then then gets written up for it.
Well, he was acting provocatively, so maybe he was like sitting there quite seductive and attractive, and the police come over and they're like, "Damn, this guy's a looker."
He
and
did
then
the
he turns
move
around
from
and
like
farts.
Basic Instinct where he like opens his leg, but then instead of it being like a sexy thing, fart comes out.
He's doing like stretches against the park bench, like, wearing his yoga pants, of course. And then when he leans over, seductively or provocatively, he just lets a fart go. And the officer's like,
This sounds like a bad Monty Python sketch. Like someone
Chris, this just sounds like every movie that was made in the early 2000s.
Someone
for teens.
standing in a park, bend over, fart comes out, rinse and repeat for like a straight minute. Like,
no, I think what it sounds like to me is it sounds like if I was to make Scary Movie,
yes,
it sounds like a scene from the Scary Movie franchise.
That is true. Fuck yeah, okay. We've sunk to some depths here, dude.
There we go. That's all there is to the story.
We've only started the episode and we're going to be at epic movie or date movie by the end of it.
Absolutely. We're going to be at Vampires Suck, the parody of Twilight.
Meet the Spartans, that was one.
Oh, fuck.
I don't remember the others.
As much as we can like rip on modern cinema, at least we can say that the Scary Movie and associated films franchise doesn't seem to be continuing in the modern era.
I feel like that's all migrated to YouTube.
Yeah, that's basically YouTube and Instagram comedy sketches now. You can't make a whole movie with that anymore.
Can I give you a story submitted by listener Nick the Communist?
Sure.
Thank you, Nick. This is from Manchester's Finest. The headline is... So this is from a couple weeks ago. This is from June the 1st. He sent us this in our off week, and it didn't seem right to use it last week. This masked man is delivering free weed to NHS staff and key workers.
He's like a pro bono drug dealer.
Yes.
He's like, look, I know you're going through a tough time right now, guys. I have one particular skill set, and that skill set isn't anything except for dealing weed. So I'm going to use my skills to help the world.
He's contributing positively and like selflessly to society.
Absolutely. That's wonderful.
Beatmaker and rule breaker, modern Robin Hood, the realist. This is how Outlaw describes himself on his Instagram, an account with more than 44k followers that seems to be increasing by the hour. You've probably read about Outlaw before in one of the many articles he's featured in over the past year. Last summer, wearing his signature black balaclava, he pitched up a roller banner in Piccadilly Gardens promoting Free Bud, where he gave out 800 pounds worth of cannabis. What
a good guy. I've never touched weed in my life. I'm not a weed smoker. But if I was a weed smoker and an NHS worker and going through a stressful time, you know what? Great. I'd love that.
Yes, excellent. I would. I feel like if it was in that time, I'd be like, "There's never been a better time to start." You know?
Sure. I feel like Corona rules. If you're an NHS worker under Corona rules, you are legally allowed to smoke weed now. That's the law.
I think so, yes.
That I've just created then. So.
And that is that's how law works. That's official.
Absolutely, it's official. It's a law.
No take backsies.
Right. If you play this podcast episode to the courtroom, then the judge will have to let you off because I said it's a law.
I'd like to address the court, Mr. Judge or Mrs. Judge. If you're listening, no take backsies. He who smelt it dealt it. Free bud. In December, he was arrested for handing out £10 notes inside Christmas cards to rough sleepers. And more recent...
Sorry, he was arrested for that?
Yeah, that's a real nasty crime, Alison.
Why was he arrested for that?
Fucked if I know.
I'm absolutely baffled.
Because we live in a broken,
We live
awful
in a society
world.
where people can get arrested for giving homeless people Christmas cards with money in them.
Like, what? Should he be giving them bullets? Like,
I don't know.
You
Like
know?
Oreos with toothpaste in it, like that one YouTuber did.
That's awful.
What
the
is
fuck?
that? I'm going to be stuck on that. I'm hung up on that, Chris.
Thank you, I understand. And more recently, he's been driving around in a van delivering essential packs of hand sanitizer, toilet roll, and weed to people in lockdown.
This guy.
We caught up with the masked activist to discover he's now extending his free weed pack service to NHS staff and key workers. We found out why he's doing it and why the police haven't fully felt his collar yet.
I mean, the police are probably getting some special deliveries as well.
Why did you start offering the free weed pack service to the NHS staff and key workers? Outlaw. I wanted to do something that could help out the NHS staff and key workers directly. I'm sceptical about donating to the NHS as it is a government organisation and shouldn't be treated like a charity.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
It's a valid argument, sure. It's a government-funded service. It should have government funding.
The clapping for the NHS is great from the people, but it's so patronising coming from politicians that have made it their mission for years to cut NHS funding and wages.
I mean, that's true too.
So yeah, he knows some shit.
A lot of true things are coming from this guy.
How much have you given out for free so far? My first weed handout was last year in Piccadilly Gardens, where I gave out about 4 ounces. During the lockdown, I've given out about 600 grams so far, but gave out hundreds of toilet roll packs and sanitizers too at the start of the lockdown. How are you able to do this? Costs must be huge. Well, I grow the weed myself here in Manchester, so it just costs the...
I mean, it literally grows on trees.
Exactly. So it just costs the price of the seeds, cuttings, and the electricity and the rent. The stamps are the most expensive part of the free postage packs. I've probably gone through about £700 worth of stamps for the free giveaways. Most expensive giveaway I've done would be the homeless one at Christmas, where I gave rough sleepers around town a card with a tenner in it. There's no crazy team behind the scenes throwing money at me. Everything is funded by me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still baffled about the £10 note and the Christmas card, how that is breaking any kind of law.
It has not been addressed. I'm just going to sort of skim through the rest because it's a fairly long interview, but he says that more doctors and nurses smoke weed than he expected.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I've seen my friends who went to medical school.
Touché.
I know the kind.
Do you think cannabis is helping individuals cope with isolation? Yeah, definitely, for many different reasons. For most people, weed has a calming effect, so it's good for people who might be anxious about the situation we're in. It's going to help sparking creativity and expanding the imagination. And there's growing research to suggest that cannabis could help actually present coronavirus, so that's a bonus. I don't know about that last one.
I don't know. I don't know about that one. I don't know what...
That's a bit InfoWarsy for me, dude.
I was with you until that sentence, in which case I'm like, yeah, okay, it's helping people, relax and de-stress.
And he's not even trying
to... Could prevent coronavirus? You've lost me.
He's not even trying to sell it. He's just giving it away for free, so he doesn't need to promote it.
Yeah.
The rest of it is mostly just him talking about, like weed being good. So he's very on that train, obviously. Oh wait, I think he might be getting into why he got arrested for the
for the stunt.
Yeah. Okay. It was a bit mad at the start. I couldn't go out without getting arrested, never mind all the weed stuff. GMP made a huge mistake when they illegally arrested me on Deansgate last year. I've got evidence to personally sue the detaining officers owned for over £20,000, but have held back on it. Police know me now, and at the end of the day, I'm not a threat to the public. If anything, I'm the opposite. The police that stopped me for the isolation van knew exactly what I was doing and what I was handing out and didn't even try to stop me. When I was detained dressed as Santa handing out money to the rough sleepers, another police officer came over to the van I was in and told the detaining officer to let us go immediately. Had a decent chat with him. He said that he had watched and followed us on CCTV handing out the cannabis in Manchester, didn't see where we were picked up in the car, but was happy to meet us and let us go. At the end of the day, if you're a smart, law-abiding police officer, you won't illegally detain/arrest me, and you'll talk to me with respect. I'll do the same to you and we'll have no problems.
It still didn't say why the officer was arresting him.
No, I guess because he's impersonating Santa. And
I suppose. Yeah, well, that's it. We know that's a federal offence in all countries.
Exactly.
Impersonating a Santa Claus. Yeah.
So the comments are just like, proud of you, fella. You're a legend, mate. Lots of recommendations for lawyers. Mm-hmm. Just very people being like, this guy seems pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean,
apart from the thing where he says weed cures Roni,
he lost me there.
It might make Roni more pleasant. Who knows?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't had coronavirus.
Neither have I.
I'd like to see the studies, is what I would.
Show me the studies.
It's just what I'm going to say there on that one. Everything else you said, I'm with you.
Well, I mean, I've been working on the last month or two on the basis that wine cures coronavirus. So that's like what I've been going off of, and that's been working.
I've been assuming that cheese cures coronavirus.
Yeah, and like I haven't had coronavirus yet, so I think it's working pretty well.
I think there's like when I heard that, right, I'm like, that does sound like something Pete Evans would say.
Yes.
And I remember that when Pete Evans, who is a celebrity chef in Australia, for those who don't know, who is very big on weird wellness shit.
And also QAnon.
Yeah, for example, well, QAnon too, apparently. For example, apparently you should not feed your babies breast milk if you are, have a baby. You should feed it bone broth that you have brewed down.
Now, does it have to be from your own bones?
Well, I mean, it might be more healthy for the baby if you used your own bones.
Because there's a stigma against, like, giving babies baby formula. So if someone's like... people are like, I'd like to breastfeed. And it's like, well, are you giving them your bone broth, though? Or is this just like you bought bones from a store?
If you use store-bought bone broth, that's disgusting.
For every kid, you have to give up a limb.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you got to make that limb last until they're like, I don't know at what point kids stop breastfeeding, but until that point.
Yeah, at that point, you're allowed to stop cutting off your own limbs to provide them bone broth. But anyway, I remember there was like this whole group of people, anytime Peter Evans would say anything like remotely promoting weed, they'd be like, we don't want you, Peter Evans. Imagine you're trying to like have a social movement, right? And you're trying to like, prove that something is, can be beneficial in some aspects, or on the other hand, you're not trying to prove it can be beneficial, you're just trying to prove that it's not actually so harmful.
Yeah, like if Pete Evans
Pete Evans comes in and is like, I support you. Also, if you have this along with a green smoothie, then all your cancer will be cured. And you're like, Pete Evans, go away. You're ruining this for everyone.
Like, if Pete Evans came out and he was like, I'm a socialist and I love millennials, I'd be like, go the fuck home, Pete Evans. I don't want you to be part of this.
We don't want you as part of our movement.
If Pete Evans is like, I hate police, I'd be like, well, I hate you.
Right, exactly.
So, like, fuck off, please.
It's like when, good old J.K. Rowling writes a whole long post about why she doesn't like transgender people, because she wants to, it's about women and about queer women. And I'm like, J.K. Rowling, none of us really want you. Can you stop?
That was an impressively swift self-cancellation that she did. And I know it had been bubbling for a while, but holy shit, did it ramp up.
Yeah, right. I mean, Janine Ellis, the founder of Boost Juice self-cancelled herself the other day when she had a little segment on the news just to promote like herself and talk about how good women in leadership are. And then she went ahead and decided to say that the glass ceiling doesn't exist and that women opt out of leadership roles.
What an amazing girl boss she is.
So she had 2 minutes on a segment to like comment on something, and she self-cancelled herself in 2 minutes when the interview wasn't even about that. So good on you, everyone.
Well, that's what we need to fight the patriarchy, Alison, is more female CEOs. That'll fix it.
We just need more female CEOs, exactly. Here's Janine Ellis's advice for all women out there, right? If you want to be in leadership, simply start your own multi-million-dollar business that somehow gets wildly successful, and then start ripping off all your workers' wages, and then you're a girl boss.
I just wish someone had told me that a couple of years ago, because I feel like it's too late in my life to start a multi-million-dollar business. You know, like at this point, like what would I even be doing? It's
simple, Chris. Just start a multi-million-dollar business. Would you like to hear a story from Australia?
I'd love that.
This one, I don't even know if it's funny. It's just kind of disgusting. But I feel like we need to talk about it anyway. This one I'm reading from ABC News. And it says, scores of native creatures, including centipedes and geckos, found inside fox.
Jesus.
I would like to say that the URL headline is, Fox dissection reveals more than 60 animals inside stomach.
That's a high number of animals.
That's a lot of animals inside the stomach. It does show a picture of a table that's just covered in like half-digested centipedes, which isn't a very nice picture. I'd like to say that there.
I can imagine.
And it says 63 dead centipedes were among the animals found inside the fox's stomach.
Fuck.
63 centipedes is a lot of centipedes, Chris.
I see why it's a dead fox. That makes sense.
How does one fox consume 63 centipedes?
So now there's some immediate interesting questions is, did he find just like a bowl of 63 centipedes, or did he find 63 individual centipedes? Because he got a taste for them.
I don't know.
He was like, these yummy little lolly snakes, I'm going to go and explore and find more of them.
These crispy boys, I do love the crunch.
Love the crunch. They're like long popcorn. Yum, yum.
Exactly. Oh, long popcorn with legs. Beautiful. Gross. More than 60 native creatures have been found inside the stomach of a feral fox on a conservation station in outback South Australia. This is what was found in his stomach. It says 63 giant centipedes, 2 lizards, and a mammal were found in the animal, which was captured at Bon Bon Station. More than 600
was not identifiable. It was too far gone.
Well, I think the mammal is in the picture here, and it does look quite well digested compared to the centipedes, which are mostly undigested.
That's fair, and they did just describe the lizards as lizards. They weren't like it was a goanna or whatever.
Right, exactly. We have seen that foxes do eat insects, but this particular fox had found a lot of centipedes. You don't say.
He found a good haul, but he learnt that gluttony is a sin.
Yeah, and he was stricken, whatever.
He was stricken down by the centipede god.
Right, exactly. The reason we didn't look into the fox and feral cat's diet, the reason that we look into the feral and... fuck. Why can't I read today, Chris?
I don't know. Just the world, man, it's getting to you.
I know. It's making me illiterate.
The more I learn about like political turmoil, the more like other knowledge from school I have to get rid of to like make space. So like I will forget how to read at a certain point.
Yeah, I think I'm already getting to that point.
I'm sorry.
The reason that we look into the fox and feral cat's diet is to get an idea of what they're eating. Unfortunately, sometimes they're even better at monitoring and sampling small mammals.
Wait. The reason we look into their diet is to get an idea of what they're eating. It's fucking shit. The reason I have food is to eat. Like what?
Okay, Chris, that does sound like, you know, when you have to write a report for school, back when you were in school, and you needed to have a certain amount of words and you just ran out of stuff to say, so you just repeat the same thing again and again.
Yeah.
And you write, like, the aim of this investigation into cats' diet is to see what cats eat.
I'm like, I want to beat up a teenager. That's what makes me. No, I want to beat up a teenager's teacher. That's what that makes me feel.
Well, that's good. Don't do that.
I won't. I couldn't if I wanted to. I'm not very strong.
I don't know. Maybe some teachers you could beat in a fight, but not all teachers.
No, not all. Hashtag not all teachers.
Unfortunately, sometimes they're even better at monitoring and sampling small mammals and reptiles than we are. I do like using the word sampling in the context of eating, though.
They're getting a little
taste.
Toothpick and just like pulling it to their lips and being like, yum, yum, yummy.
But I don't think eating 63 centipedes is sampling the centipedes. I think that's like buffeting the centipedes.
There's like
at that
6
point.
different puddles on the road and going just like licking a little bit out of each one and being like, this one has hints of tire.
Exactly.
This one has hints of bird urine. Yummy, yummy.
Oh my God. What are we doing? What are we doing with our lives?
I'm doing improv comedy. I don't know what you're doing.
I don't know what I'm doing. She said the find would lead workers at Bon Bon to do more monitoring on how insects and other invertebrates were coping in the area. Miss Taylor said the centipedes were in
Badly, I think, because they're getting fucking eaten by a fox.
Absolutely massacred by this fox.
Not awesome is my takeaway.
Not great, yeah. I mean, frankly, I don't know about you, but like obviously fox and feral cats, they're not good animals. But if I found out that this not good animal was killing all the centipedes, I would probably be like, yep. You can go right ahead and do that. I don't really like centipedes all that much. I don't
like all bugs. When Tim fucked up a cockroach the other day, I've never been prouder of him. Great. There was a funny moment where he was trying to chase around the cockroach and it went behind the bookshelf and he lost it and he started meowing at me to bring it back. I was like, Dad, bring the toy back. And I was like, I fucking
can't get
can't,
that,
dude.
and I don't want to get that out. Like, that can stay as far away from as possible.
In the morning, I found it dead on the living room floor, so he obviously had his way with it.
He found it. He got there in the end. Yeah. He said the centipedes were in hibernation underground until widespread rainfall across the outback earlier this year prompted them to surface. Now, Chris, in this context, right, what I've just learned is that apparently when it rains in the outback, a lot of centipedes come out of the ground.
Love that. That's a horror movie.
I don't mean to advocate for drought, but maybe drought is a good thing in this context.
Because it means that we don't get what is essentially a centipede slurry emerging from the earth.
Frankly, I don't want to see centipedes emerging from the ground.
Like imagine just a dry, empty field and 1 million centipedes grow out of the ground like blades of grass.
No. And all their little legs are wriggling, and their little pincers on their face.
Raw and wriggling.
Oh my God, I'm disgusted.
I feel like you're discovering a new phobia today. I love that.
I mean, I'm not really that much afraid of centipedes, but they're quite yucky.
I think you're discovering a new phobia, and one of our listeners is discovering that they have the world's worst fetish.
Wow. If that is your fetish, then look. You can look at this story and see some half-digested centipedes.
Just go to like rural Western Australia and bring a watering can and just go and start like sprinkling.
Oh my God. I like this wording though. She says, when it rains, they can erupt and be quite plentiful during those times.
I don't like the word erupt.
I don't like the word erupt in reference to centipedes sprouting from the ground.
Do we think it's like individual centipedes like a blade of grass, or do we think it's like a fountain of centipedes?
I don't want to think about this anymore. It's like Dr. Pimple Popper.
Yes.
The centipedes come out like pus is what I'm envisioning.
Well, I feel like they're of similar quality, you know.
Well, yeah.
I don't like them.
Chris, now what's pictured in my mind is popping a pimple and a centipede emerging from it. Which isn't...
Dude, no, shut the fuck up.
I'm going to move right on.
Oh, it's like the world's worst tapeworm. I want to die.
Let's press on.
Oh my God, that's the worst thing. No, Chris, I can't, Alison. You've ruined me.
Chris, let's press on.
I feel physically ill.
Chris, let's press on.
I hate you.
Let's press on.
Fuck you.
They might have been more active on that night.
Shit.
And foxes are opportunistic, so they're going to eat what's around. She said feral animal dissections can sometimes be quite a sad experience. You find a lot of your native species in there, she said. Even though this fox had eaten about 155 grams of centipede, it is...
Can you imagine just putting them on a scale and being like, that's 60 grams of centipede, put it in the wok.
Oh, that's 60 grams of centipede, put it in the baggie and deliver it to people.
Holy shit. You go to a deli and you're like, can I have 150 grams of centipede, please? And
Well,
they just
Chris,
get the little
you'll be
scoop out.
pleased to know the picture that is next to this part in the ABC story is a scale with, like, the crunched up bits of half-digested centipede.
That's so fucking gross. Why would you take a photo of that?
Well, why would the ABC publish that photo of that?
That's
Who knows?
not... Okay.
Anyway, I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to skip a little bit here. It says,
Why?
Flinders University PhD student ecologist Gerard Norvell said animal dissections could shine valuable light on the diet of animals, both feral and native. You need that information for management plans or conservation plans, so it is a necessary evil, he said. That is why we like to collect animals that are accidentally killed on roads. If the body is still intact, it is not necessary to kill a healthy animal. If you dissect them, you have a record of what happened in the last few hours, so it tells you quite a lot on what they're feeding on. Chris, did you hear that key word there? In the last few hours. What that implies is that this fox ate 63 centipedes within the course of a few hours.
And then went to die, which is the correct response to doing that.
You just binge ate a lot of centipedes and you're like, this is not ideal for me.
I mean, I've definitely binge eaten things and then felt like this was the end of... Like, I've eaten a lot of ice cream and felt like I'm gonna die. So, like,
that's
I relate.
the end at that point, yeah.
Yeah, you're like, I've sinned, I've made a mistake, I knew this would happen. Goodbye, world. Please say sorry to my loved ones.
Let's read this last bit. This is the end. It says, if you know the biology of the prey, it can tell you things, like if the species is an ambush predator or an active forager that looks for its prey. He said he was surprised to hear that the fox ate so many centipedes, because centipedes will fight back.
What the fuck? Oh, wait, how?
Well,
How
they can sting you. They've got, like...
And also, like, they've got
Poison.
so many legs, they can do crazy kung fu.
Oh, they can do, like, really sick parkour moves.
Yeah.
With all their legs, yeah.
They can turn into a little ring and roll at you.
Well, that's not ideal.
I'm sorry, I feel kind of lightheaded still after this whole...
I don't want to... Press past it. Get another story. Bring another story to the table. We've got to get the centipedes out of our system.
Fucking gnarly, dude.
I did say I don't know if it's going to be funny or if it would just be disgusting.
No, it was funny, but it did eventually become disgusting.
Yeah. Anyway, good on that fox eating 63 centipedes, 150 grams of centipede. He's the MVP. Great.
This is another animal story, but it's on a very different tone.
Okay.
This is also from the ABC. This one's sent to me by my dad. Diego the Galapagos giant tortoise returns home after breeding program.
Oh, I think we've talked about Diego before.
Have we?
We have. He likes to fuck a lot.
All right, I'm going to find a different story because this is that.
This is a different story about that same tortoise. Okay.
No, but it's basically the same. The joke is that he fucks a lot.
He's going home now. That's good to know.
Yeah,
he's going into retirement.
The fuck turtle's going home. Hooray. I'm getting a different story. This one was sent to be my mum. This is from 9 News. Woman discovers remains of 300-kilogram giant squid on beach walk.
Ooh, yikes.
A giant squid weighing more than 300 kilograms and spanning 4 meters has washed ashore on a beach in South Africa.
Sorry, 300 kilograms and 4 meters.
He's a dense boy.
That's very dense.
Yeah. The dead gargantuan sea creature, whose eyes are 30 centimeters wide, are the largest in the animal kingdom. This is a very gross out episode today. Were discovered by Adele Gross and a...
the name's there. The name's telling.
And her husband while walking at Golden Mile Beach near Cape Town on Sunday. Oh my word, seeing it first really took my breath away. Oh my word.
I'm imagining her like some like Southern Christian woman, and she
Well,
sees
she's
it.
not.
She's like,
she's got
oh,
like a
my
South
word.
African accent, presumably.
Well,
I'm not going to
who
do that
knows?
one
Who
because
knows?
it's too close to New Zealand, but too hard to do.
Right, that's true.
So I will make her from Georgia. Oh,
Sure.
my word, seeing it at first really took my breath away, Miss Gross told Live Science. Honestly,
Sure.
it looked like a majestic prehistoric animal.
Well, she believes in prehistoric animals, so that's a good
something.
start. That takes away the character.
Alison, she's not actually from Georgia.
No,
She's
exactly.
from South Africa.
Well, it does take away that. It's just the fact that she chose to say, oh my word, as
Oh,
opposed
my
to,
word.
holy fucking shit, what the fuck
Can you
is
imagine
that?
like an Aussie? What accents you can do like, oh my word, but you can't do, oh my word.
Oh my word.
Oh my bloody word, mate.
Oh my fucking word.
Oh my word, you sick fuck. I'm going to go to a farm where there's like a lot of cows and be like, oh my word, that's a lot of fucking cattle. Oh. This is my new favourite thing.
Oh god. Before this we were joking about like how the brand of comedy which is literally just like say swear words in a funny accent. Before we started recording the episode we were talking about
Alison,
that.
you insinuated that was my brand of comedy.
No, I insinuated that was a lot of people's brand of comedy, and we just both slipped into it right there.
Whilst you're not wrong, I don't appreciate being called out like this.
We both just slipped into it right there. Not ironically. I don't think we were doing it like lampshading our funny joke that we made pre-podcast. I think we both just did it and have both just discovered something in ourselves.
She says it is unclear how the giant squid died, but that there were big swells in the sea the previous night.
Can I just make a little guess here? Perhaps the fact that it's on the fucking sand may have something to do with the fact it died.
I think you might be onto something.
I might be onto something there. I've got to like investigate and give them a call and say, did you consider that the squid might be dead because it's not in the ocean?
There were no signs of it being attacked by a shark or other predator, she says. We looked for bite marks or injuries and could not really find anything. Firstly, wild that you think you'd be able to detect injuries on a squid. They look like living intestines. Like, there's
I
not...
like the idea. Is this the woman who found the squid that's talking about it?
Yes.
So she finds a squid. She's like, oh my word, he might be hurt. She walks over and like examines to see if she can see any bite marks in her.
But it looks like one big bite mark. Like, that's not...
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
She estimated it weighed about 330 kilograms and measured 4 meters in length.
Sorry? So they didn't actually weigh it?
Unclear how this all works.
Okay.
There's then a photo of the beak of the squid. Don't like that exists. And it kind of looks like one of those pincers in those like claw machine games.
Well, that's good.
But brown and the size of like a large man's fist.
I don't like that.
Also, it's made up of 4 points, not 2 like a normal beak. So it's like got a pincing sort of motion, and I hate it.
Sure. So it looks like the trash like thing that goes in the bottom of your sink and like kills all your garbage.
Yeah, it looks like a trash compactor.
So that's what I'm going to assume is inside the body of a squid, and that's why it's so dense, because it's all the machinery that's in there.
It's actually a garbage machine inside.
Yeah, it's a garbage disposal unit.
Sightings of the reclusive giant squid, which inspired Jules Verne's 1869 book 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, are rare. The massive creatures usually make underwater canyons, up to 1,000 meters below the surface, their home. It was not until 2004 that the giant squid was seen in its natural habitat. An alive creature has only been filmed twice, in 2013 and last year in the Gulf of Mexico. And then there's another photo of they've kind of put it on top of a blanket, and it is rough to look at, I gotta say. So there's some experts examining it now, and it's just so gross. But
It's just yucky.
you could get a lot of calamari out of that bad boy.
That's what they're all thinking. They're all investigating to think about like how much breading they need to make like salt and pepper squid from this.
Researchers collected the squid and are now storing it in a freezer facility until they can study its DNA and anatomy when the COVID-19 lockdown ends, which is obviously a false flag. They're going to turn it into calamari.
Oh, they're absolutely making salt and pepper squid from that bad boy. They're just trying to like wait until lockdown ends so they can get the rest of the ingredients.
Giant squids are one of those things that I look at it and I'm like, this is amazing and majestic, but I am repulsed by the sight of it. And I get that with honestly most ocean creatures. Like,
yeah, the ocean.
Like, give me the
ocean is
heebie-jeebies.
full of bad.
Yeah, it's full of death. We should not go there. There was that movie, the Kristen Stewart movie, where she's underwater and there's a lot of things down there that kill you. And that movie's okay.
Absolutely.
It's basically like a shitty version of Alien, but underwater
Wait, I
and with
saw
a weirdly...
that one with Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, and it has a weirdly high budget, and it's not bad.
I saw that in the cinema in Indonesia, and it
Did
was
you
very
enjoy it?
well. The movie cinema was packed.
Oh.
Indonesians loved that movie, so
They love Kristen Stewart in Indonesia.
absolutely.
They stan.
Well, that's the thing. My colleagues at work were like, "Come see this movie with us." I'm like, "What is it about?" And they're like, "It's got Kristen Stewart in it," and that was. I'm like, okay, well, I'll see the movie because movies here only cost 30 cents. So.
Yeah. And then you were
Or
like...
$3 rather.
And then you were like, oh, this is a weirdly star-studded horror film.
I'm like, this is kind of bad, but also entertaining enough that you're not like feel like you wasted your money, you know.
It reminded me of the movie Life, which is basically Alien in space, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Reynolds. And again, weirdly high budget.
I would say that it falls into that category of movies that like it's entertaining to watch, but very forgettable, and you probably won't think about it.
Yeah, it's just like a well-produced B-movie. Like, not B-movie as in Jerry Seinfeld's movie about bees, the B-movie. Like, although I would love to see a live-action of remake with Kristen Stewart playing.
Yeah.
I mean, all roles, but most importantly, the Jerry Seinfeld role, because I love her. She's a great actress. She could not deliver that dialogue to save her life, and it would be very funny to watch.
I think the thing with her in general is the dialogue delivery is not great.
She just has to be used well.
Yeah, exactly.
She does great French art films.
It's like randomly Michael Cera was in a bunch of like Chilean indie movies.
Well, it's like the Daniel Radcliffe thing. When you've got more money than like God, like why not? You know?
Yeah, if I was Michael Cera, I would be starring in Chilean indie films too.
Yeah, he's living off that Arrested Development money. He's
got a lot of cash from that.
A lot of money from Arrested Development. Everybody
absolutely
made so much money off that one. Oh, hey, Tim.
I can hear him meowing on the microphone.
All right. Do you have one more story so we can finish up before Tim starts making lots of noise?
Yeah, well, let's end up with this one. I'm going to go ahead and say this is my new segment, Hero of the Week, which is just recognizing some people that we need to, give a bit of credit to. Again, I'm not sure how funny this is, but it's a little bit wacky, and this girl deserves a shout out in our podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm reading from Coconuts KL, which is like Coconuts is like I would say something like junkie news in Australia, but it's like in Southeast Asia.
Okay.
So it's like an online youth-centric news website.
It's like pedestrian.tv, but from Asia.
But this one's from, Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, etc. This is the headline. It says, Sabah student breaks the internet after climbing hill and tree for Wi-Fi signal to take exams.
Oh, God.
This girl absolutely
that's commitment.
Deserves credit. Absolutely. Yeah. And this is to make everyone else who's listening to this feel bad about your life and how dedicated you are to your studies.
I mean, this thing that we're doing now is like the most I do things. So, like, take from that what you will.
Vivonia Mosibin became an online sensation overnight after she uploaded a video of herself spending what she said was 24 hours in a tree to get good internet connection so she could sit for her exams.
That's so rough.
The 18-year-old student from University Malaysia, Sabah, decided to spend the night in a langsat fruit tree located on the top of a hill for her chemistry and Malaysian studies exam on June 9th using her smartphone. It had to be taken online as campuses were closed to students since late April due to the COVID-19 outbreak. Vivonia said she lives in a remote village of Sabana Lang Pitas, located nearly 200 kilometres outside of Sabah's state capital, Kota Kinabalu, where the environment is very dark and people had to use their own electricity generators and candles. So we need to climb the tree if we want strong internet connection during the examination, she said in the video. And this video has now been watched over 320,000 times. And she now has 40,000 channel subscribers, which she fucking well deserves, frankly.
Yes.
Because if I know from my experience, uploading video to YouTube takes a long-ass time.
Yes.
So this girl has to be sitting in that tree for a long-ass time holding her smartphone to upload the video to YouTube. So that on its own as well deserves credit. The clip showed her settling down on planks of wood that were placed on the tree's branches. She was armed with her smartphone, power bank, a bottle of mineral water, a mosquito net, and 3 packets of linopod, which is a leaf-wrapped rice snack.
Oh, nice.
And around 24 hours later, Vivonia returned home in the morning at 7 a.m. Everything seemed to go smoothly during her examinations, except for when a hornet entered her mosquito net. Shit.
Oh, that's the mid-plot, like, review. I love that this is like a productive version of 127 Hours, the movie where James Franco cuts off his arm.
Right.
That's the vibe I'm getting from this, and I dig it. This should be a movie.
Exactly. Earlier in the clip, she said she created a makeshift bamboo hut at the foot of the hill to take her exams, but it was sadly toppled during a storm.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, that's all there really is to this, but I just want to, like, throw it out there. The effort this girl has gone to do her exams.
She rules.
If I was her educator, I would just be like, no, I don't even care what grade you got. The fact that you had to fucking climb a tree and sit in a mosquito net for, you know, a whole 24 hours to do these tests on your smartphone, like, you deserve a high distinction for that, Chris, I would say.
I would love if it wasn't even like medicine or something, if it was just like a kind of hobby degree. She was like already a lawyer, but she's studying astronomy just for kicks.
Yeah, just for fun.
She's like camping out in this tree for a day.
It doesn't say what she studied.
She needs to prove...
She said she was doing her chemistry and Malaysian studies.
Oh, all right, fair enough. That sounds like a thing.
But I mean, it could be. It could just be a hobby degree. Who knows?
Yeah, she's already... I mean, she's obviously a very successful outdoorsman. This point.
Yeah.
Famed lumberjack.
But I just feel like she puts us all to shame, right? Because I remember when I was doing my undergraduate degree...
She's basically a living Minecraft character.
One day I had to wake up at 6 a.m. to do my exam, which started at 8 a.m. in Macquarie University. And I felt like I was going out of my way to do that exam. But...
I once did
say that, and I didn't have to climb a tree and sit there with a hornet buzzing around my head to do the exam.
I once did an exam whilst on holiday at a resort on phone Wi-Fi with my at the time girlfriend. So that I felt like was pretty going out of my way.
Good. What exam was that? Was that in the master's degree?
It was. I think that was the law one, maybe.
Oh yes, the like take-home exam.
Yeah, I was up in Newcastle when that happened because we could only do it inside this like 1 day window, and I was on holiday for that day because it was the long weekend.
And a certain classmate of ours was messaging me the whole time. Anyway, moving right along.
Don't worry, she doesn't listen to this. It's fine.
Shout out to her for climbing a tree and taking your exams. And I'd like to just use this moment to say, what fucking excuse does everyone else have? So
depression.
I mean, that's valid.
Yeah, that's honestly it.
That's true. That's yeah. I mean, too real.
Yeah, fucking cut down there, Alison.
Absolutely.
Get out of my face.
But maybe if you were sitting in a tree with a hornet, you wouldn't have to worry about that because you'd be too worried about getting the hornet away from your head.
Too busy fighting a hornet.
Exactly. You don't have time to think about like your existential issues and depression when there's a hornet like right next to your head right now that you need to get rid of.
So the
maybe
lesson
it's a strategy.
I've learnt from this is that I need to start hunting hornets.
Right, exactly. Put a bunch of hornets in your house.
Just have them live there.
Then you don't have to worry about anything else when the hornets are buzzing around because you're too busy thinking about the hornets.
Tim would kill them all. One of them would start flying up in the air and he'd be like, Dad, bring it back down.
Can you get that for me? It's too high.
I want to eat it. Can you get it?
It's simply too high for me to get.
This toy you've brought me is not acceptable. Thank you, everybody, for listening. You can find us on Twitter or Instagram at Red Menacecast or on Facebook at the Red Menace Podcast. You can find our merchandise on tpublic.com. Just search the Red Menace podcast. Do I have anything I want to plug? I don't think so.
No.
Everyone should play The Last of Us 2. It's not that it needs advertising. It's going to make more money than Jesus. But it's very good.
Hey, random fact of the day. Just before we close up, I'd like to point out that apparently Corbin Bleu, the actor who plays a supporting character in High School Musical, has the third most translated Wikipedia page of all time for people.
That is... I have no reaction to that outside
Third only to Jesus and Obama. You've got Jesus, Obama, Corbin Bleu from High School Musical. Google it; it's a fact, and that was the most shocking thing I've learned this week.
Do you think that in terms of quality, Jesus, Obama, Corbin Bleu, is that an ascent or a descent?
Oh, I don't want to say.
I think hot take. It's an Obama's in the middle. We can say that comfortably.
It's up to you which way you want to.
Exactly. Jesus or Corbin, your choice.
Anyway, I don't know why I brought that up. The podcast's over. Leave you with that fun fact.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Good luck and good night. Wizards Unite, Black Lives Matter.
Good night.
I've changed it from lizards to wizards, but I'm going to keep it this way. Anyway.
Just change it a little bit everywhere you go.
Bye.
Bye.